What's up everybody? I got another mod video for you guys today. I've been wanting to look at these mods for a while now, so I'm really excited to tackle this one. Today we're looking at the Mass Effect 3 Retrofit Mods, and there's quite a bit of them. What these mods do is that they change certain things revolving around the enemies in Mass Effect 3. It can be things like changing their skins, armors, open helmets, assorted weapons, but these mods can go beyond that. They can even add new enemies to the main story. As a whole, the retrofit mods don't have enough to them for me to give each one its own video, so we're about to cover them all here. We're going to look at the smaller mods first and then move on to the ones that have more meat to them. So let's get this thing started. The Geth Retrofits mod adds the Geth bomber enemy from Mass Effect 3 multiplayer and Armax Arsenal Arena to the Rannoch story arc. The intent with adding these is to maintain combat balance, and it adds more variety to the Geth. When I look at the bombers, they remind me of the Geth recon drones that were in Mass Effects 1 and 2. There may be more added to this mod in the future, but for now, this is what we got. As a heads up, these mods also require the Expanded Universe mod, which allows you to add lore from the comics, books, and games like Andromeda into Mass Effect 3, and the Community Patch, which is pretty much required in general, but it helps to fix bugs that may happen with these mods in the vanilla game. The Cat 6 Retrofits aims to give Cat 6 more personality and variety amongst its enemy archetypes. One thing you may have noticed among Mass Effect 3's enemies is that it was decided to make the enemies faceless outside the Reapers, and this was a departure from Mass Effects 1 and 2, where you could see some of the enemies' faces. I mean, it does make more sense in 3 for Cerberus to an extent, but it doesn't for Cat 6, who are just your average mercs. So this mod allows for some of the Cat 6 members to have open helmets so that you can see their faces. All 3 archetypes have undergone this change, even the Cat 6 Atlas pilots, although I didn't get to see that one because I folded the Atlas in record time. Cat 6 has also been given more varied weaponry, so now you can see a heavy using a Talon, specialists using sabers or Spitfires, and snipers can also use other types of weaponry. As you progress through the DLC, you'll notice this, and it can catch you off guard, but I think this is pretty cool. It makes them feel more like individuals instead of copied and pasted enemies. On top of the weapon changes, there are 2 new enemy archetypes, the Cat 6 Pyro and Hacked Mechs. The Pyro is a nod to the Pyro Mercs from Mass Effect 2, and the Hacked Mechs use the Rampart Mech as their archetype. Apparently these are a reimagining of some of the content that was cut from the DLC, but it's kind of funny fighting the mechs because they're using Dr. Eva's skin, so it's like you're fighting multiple Eddies. Also, there is one named enemy to fight that uses a Centurion archetype as its foundation. I didn't see a named Cat 6 member, unless it's Brooks that uses the archetype now. I'm not going to lie, I was getting my tail handed to me, so I didn't have time to scan for a while. I had to lock in. But yeah, this mod set out what it was meant to do. The Cat 6 members do feel like they have more personality, and I did enjoy fighting Merc Pyros again, although this one scared the hell out of me. Up next, the Leviathan Retrofits adds the Collectors into the Leviathan DLC. The Collectors were thought to have died out in Mass Effect 2. I mean, we did have the chance to nuke the Collector version of High Charity, but the Collectors returned in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer mode. This mod adds the multiplayer Collectors back into the Leviathan DLC, so now you'll be fighting Collector troops mixed in with Reaper ones. This adds a new flavor to the Reapers, as you now have to account for the Collectors and their own unique abilities. The Collector enemies' names have changed so that they match the names they had in Mass Effect 2. So Collector Troopers are now Collector Drones, and Collector Captains are now Collector Guardians. The Collectors can also spawn Seeker Swarms. I'm not too sure what the function of these are at the moment. They didn't do anything to me when I got swarmed by them, but it looked cool. If they're meant to be an annoyance visually, then they were. I would spray them down just to avoid this situation. The drones and guardians seem to have replaced the cannibals and marauders for the DLC. I actually started to miss them after a while. Lastly, a new codex entry has been written to explain the return of the Collectors using Mass Effect multiplayer's lore, which I believe is this entry right here, although I could be wrong on that. You should install this mod alongside the Reaper Retrofits mod. I mean, it is required, but these mods together open up something cool that we're going to talk about in a minute. Alright guys, now we're getting into the beefier retrofits. The Reaper Retrofits overhauls the Reaper faction in looks and design. This mod adds back the Abominations, Scions, and the Praetorians from Mass Effect 2. The Husks and Abominations have the same appearance that they did in that game as well. This was done to give the two more of the body horror vibe that they had in the first two games, and to keep their appearance consistent across the trilogy. However, there was the issue of the vanilla model husks showing up in the full motion videos, so the workaround was to repurpose those models. 3's husks are now called Wretched. You'll see these more in the second half of the game, and they function as the tougher version of regular husk. The Scions add a different dynamic to the Reaper fights. Having this enemy launch grenades at you with the most perfect accuracy keeps you on your toes. I was taking a lot of damage because the Scions launch grenades right at my feet, and I wouldn't notice it until Shepard spazzes out due to their shields being taken out. Now, would I take this over the shockwave of death? It's hard to say. Now the Praetorians. I don't like these, I don't like them at all. But it is nice to fight something different. These take the place of brutes in some areas, and it can be easier to just take on one enemy. I waited until we got to this mod to talk about this feature, but this mod as in Reaper Possession. Remember how Harbinger could take control of the Collectors? Well, now he can take control of every single type of Reaper, and I mean every single type. It acts as an aggro mode. It makes them more aggressive, they gain biotic shields, and they deal more damage to you. Depending on the Reaper type, this can be hell to deal with. For one, if you kill an abomination while it's possessed, it goes off like a grenade. And when it's on a Praetorian, the stress of wanting to take it out can leave you vulnerable to flanking, which is what happened to me, and I died. This mod spices up the Reapers, a lot actually, but it adds a level of dread, because like I was saying, when the Reaper that you don't want to get possessed gets possessed, it changes how you handle that particular fight. And don't forget the Reaper Tyrant from Spectre Expansion. I didn't fight it while getting footage for this video, but I know if it got possessed, I would be spamming everything I got. And lastly, we got Cerberus Retrofits. This mod changes the armor of certain Cerberus troops, and adds more enemies to the vanilla story. The armor of the Assault Trooper, Centurion, and Guardian enemies has been changed to match the Mass Effect 2 designs. Each enemy type's armor has been paired with an armor set to match their role on the battlefield. So now you have the Assault Troopers wearing the Assault armor, Centurions wearing Inferno armor, and Guardians using Ajax armor. This was implemented to match the lore of the series. This mod has its own enemy additions. Cerberus Dragoons from Mass Effect 3's multiplayer mode have been added to the main story, and I folded them in no time, but they have this ability to generate biotic whips. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. It could also be shields that they're able to use in an offensive manner. Regardless, it's still a pretty cool ability. Adjutants can be spotted on 2 different missions, but that's only if you make a certain decision while playing the Spectre Expansion mod. I'm going to give y'all some info on this because it's easy to miss out on this choice. Since we're dealing with adjutants, it's Arya's gang's problem. After reading the report from Nyala, you will receive an email from Braid telling you to go talk to Herod. But wait a minute, Herod is a merchant on Omega. As a result, you need the Omega Hub mod to get to him. This mod lets you walk around Omega, just like you did in Mass Effect 2. But that's all the info I'm giving out, guys. Happy hunting! There are also 3 enemy agents that you can fight, and these guys are from the background lore of the series. And it was interesting fighting these guys, as they have a bit of a different fighting style compared to the rest of the Cerberus operatives. Additionally, a new enemy has been added to the Mega DLC, but like the mod developer, I'm going to keep that a secret. But that's everything, guys. It was interesting to sit down and experience these mods. I said I wasn't going to download the Reaper Retrofits mods because I didn't want to fight Scions and Praetorians again, and I was getting my butt handed to me at times, I'm not going to lie, but it did provide an exciting challenge. I haven't played this game seriously in a while. I maybe played just to gather footage, but this mod made me have to lock in, and that was just on normal. I can only imagine what it's like on the higher difficulties. I do want to see what gets added to Geth retrofits. I'd like to see some shock troopers. That's an enemy that could be in all 3 games, destroyers as well. The links to all of these mods will be in the description section, but I want to thank you guys for watching. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
DJ Sonic 3.